What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Let's kick it off. Alright, first up for the Bitcoin price chart. So a couple hours ago we had Bitcoin officially close the last open weekly fair value gap I had is the last level of resistance before all-time highs. So we did close this open fair value gap right around 62,400. So my alert triggered, just wanted to share that on Twitter because we've been talking about this level for months. Now looking at price today, we can see that we have smashed up, we have closed the fair value gap or the sell side imbalance, which is great. And also really quick, in yesterday's video, I accidentally called this level the R3. So we hit the R2, now we've hit the R3. And notice the R2 is perfectly on the bottom of this fair value gap, while the top of this fair value gap is right on the 702 Fibonacci retracement. The top of this fair value gap here is right on the weekly R3. So I just want to emphasize the multiple levels of confluence we have at the R levels, the weekly fair value gaps, and the Fibonacci retracements. Now what's different than 2019 before the crash coming back down to lows is we never got a full weekly close above the 50% Fibonacci retracement with the wick and body. In this case we did, and compared to the previous 3 cycles when we got this close, we've historically headed to a new all-time high price within 1 month to 3.2 months, or 28 days to 98 days. We've covered this in threads on Twitter since September of 2023, just want to point that out. We talked about that in previous videos. And notice, we retraced to the 618 just like the previous 2 cycles, and now we've even smashed through the 702, wick on the fair value gap, and the 702, and we are above the 786. So for me, not financial advice, I am treating my portfolio like we are heading to an all-time high price this year, because this structure looks more like November 2020 before all-time highs, or even early 2017 before all-time highs. And the one big picture thing I'm looking at during the previous 3 cycles, during a bull run before and after the Bitcoin halving, which is set to take place in April, is maintaining above the 21-week EMA or exponential moving average. You can see holding this level or this purple line for support all the way up. Even wicks, some wicks below, but for the most part maintaining above this level. Specifically in 2016, 2015 during the run-up, riding this level all the way up for support. Back test, back test, back test, back test, all the way up. 2019, we never got the full close above the 50% retracement, crashed back down. This structure, we have gotten the close above this level, so that's something I'm considering. So right now, for pullbacks, when we get them, are we going to create an all-time high price first? When are we going to get our first major pullback? When we do, at the very least, I would like to see Bitcoin hold above the 21-week EMA right around 43,000. During the previous cycles in 2016, we did have major crashes on the way up, and then even during 2020, 2021, we never really backtested here, but we did in the beginning. So that's something I'm looking at and considering as we're expected to get a lot more volatility for alts. If Bitcoin is in fact heading to an all-time high price, it will steal the show until pushing well into all-time highs, and that's historically when we get the opportunity for alts after Bitcoin has already pushed in new highs. We had some alts take off with Bitcoin, we had some alts not even move or even crash for 3 to 5 weeks before finally getting those multi-100% moves. So we've explained that for alts. I did a thread on Twitter highlighting high caps, mid caps, and low caps and their performance after Bitcoin pushed into new highs. So right here we have Bitcoin. This was posted on February 19th as we closed above the 50% retracement during the previous cycles. When we got this, we headed to an all-time high price. We didn't crash all the way back down into reaccumulation like we did during March 2020. So here's 2016, early 2017. Notice this was an older chart. We're actually all the way up here, closer to 60,000 today. So it looks a lot more like early 2017. And if we go to this cycle, notice Bitcoin here is actually up here today above the 786. And when we got above the 786 in 2020, we headed to an all-time high price. So those are some things I'm considering. I did also share the chart on Twitter measuring the monthly RSI. We've done videos on that, and if we did follow the cycle lengths of the previous cycles in terms of the high of the monthly RSI until a new all-time price is reached, that shows 2024. So whether you're bullish or bearish here, I wish you guys well. I have a lot of exposure in crypto. I have a cash position if we do see a black swan or a crash back into reaccumulation. I'll make the most of it, but at this point, after the last 2 years, I'm completely numb to price action. I'm numb to seeing 50% crashes, and I'm awaiting for all-time highs for alts to have the highest rate of return. Whether that's this year and we do rhyme with the previous cycles, or we even wait until 2025 after elections. And I'll still be referring back to the Bitcoin Bull Run Index right here. You can visit this site by Colin Talks Crypto. I love this because this aggregates 9 of the most popular and, in my opinion, accurate metrics for Bitcoin. And it essentially maps out the cycle top or gives you a warning when we're near cycle tops. 1 cycle, 2 cycle, in the previous cycle. Even though this created another high, it was bearish divergence, and it still got you within the range, very close to Bitcoin's top. So dark green historically has been bear market bottoms just like we had back in 2022 of November, and we can see dark red has accurately mapped the top within several weeks or even a month, which is a big deal. So until we're dark red, I'm not even going to be considering us at a cycle top. Yes, we can crash, 30-40% randomly like we do each cycle, but I am waiting for this to be much darker in red, looking at the monthly and weekly RSI as Bitcoin price action develops. Next up, for Hedera. So Hedera's Hashgraph and its native token HBAR, their mainnet transactions have exceeded over 42 billion transactions. In my opinion, this is a sneak peek of what just a few enterprise applications can do for these networks, and I know Hedera is building many more in the future. So this is not just millions of transactions, this is billions with a B, and potentially trillions for certain networks that can scale. So compared to Hedera's Hashgraph, which launched in 2019, we can see for Ethereum, I believe this is the total number of transactions in history, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just under 2.3 billion. So Hedera's Hashgraph is already one of the leading mainnets, specifically in enterprise adoption, with the highest number of transactions on their mainnet, which is a big deal, and they're continuously adding partnerships and expanding. They're reinvesting into their ecosystem. We can see the HBAR Foundation right here invested over $400 million for their ecosystem. So when I see this, I see they are a serious player in this space, and I believe they have massive long-term success. And if you've studied the tech shifts of the rise of cloud, that's now a $5 trillion market, or the rise of Linux, an operating system used in essentially every Android phone in the world with billions of users, or social media, the rise of e-commerce, all of these things take years to develop. I'm also excited for the DREC alliance with Algorand and Hedera, so they're building this solution for key recovery, which is so important. And this is not tied just to Hedera's Hashgraph or Algorand's blockchain. This is for everybody. To improve the user experience, to bring more Web2 users to Web3, we need these type of initiatives in place. To streamline the process of securing and recovering digital assets aligning with conventional Web2 experiences. In looking at Hedera's governing council, some of the world's largest organizations, Google, DLA Piper, Deutsche Telekom, LG, and it goes on, IBM, Dell, etc. This is super impressive. No governance model is perfect, but I do find this interesting. And I'm sure retail investors say, well, if Hedera already has over 40 billion transactions, why is the price only at 10 cents? And that's because Hedera is extremely efficient. It needs a lot more transactions, but what's interesting about its network is it's built to scale billions, if not even trillions in the future, and I know that may sound silly. But a lot of people, including myself, believe in HBAR long term, even considering the full cap max supply of 50 billion. When we think about it for Ethereum, it does not have 40 billion transactions on its mainnet, the gas fees don't allow it, it is just not scalable. But for Hedera, it can actually keep scaling and getting more and more transactions. So some are turned off by the tokenomics, but friendly reminder, for ETH's all-time high market cap, that was 570 billion, even if we considered Hedera's full circulating supply or full max supply in the future of 50 billion. If HBAR did reach the all-time high market cap that Ethereum did last cycle, that would be over $10. So discussing HBAR going back to all-time highs or even $1 plus isn't crazy to me. It's just a question of if they can execute and actually see that growth. Next up, we have David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, speaking at Innovate Denver today. So I'll have to check this out and see if it was recorded or if it'll be shared online. We had some big news from WatsPay. This has been long awaited. So for WTK, their asset, we can see WatsPay, Dubai's entity, has received their VASP license or virtual asset service provider from VARA, their regulatory authority. So I was listening to the Twitter space last week and waiting for this. I thought this was going to be coming in a few months, so this is a big surprise to be moving forward. Many think WatsPay is a scam. I personally don't. Of course, either a year or two ago, I didn't like what they shared on Twitter of them like partying in the club. But overall, I think it's a very legitimate solution. If you check out Wad's chain, both the private and public, I did a lot more research on it recently, just diving in. This has been on my radar ever since, Anders L and Crypto Eddie have been covering it essentially since it launched. I have some on Bitrue. I know they said they're also discussing with some T1 exchanges, so I would love to see some listings on more exchanges. Also, I believe the Coinbase app is down. It might be fixed by now, but my balance was showing $0. I had some open orders that were supposed to fill, and I got a cancellation notice with my smart trade feature. So I was wondering what's going on, but gotta love these exchanges, especially during periods of high volume, and this is what we've talked about. Different exchanges go down. I thought Coinbase had all bear market to get their stuff together, especially after IPOing and having more money. I am hoping this is not an issue, and I hope this gets fixed quickly, because Coinbase is one of many accounts that I leverage just to run trading bots 24/7, 365, and I really hope they're not going to be down, especially if we get some good volatility. And these are some of the stupid comments I regularly see. No way Kevin is still using Coinbase. Yep, I have accounts on a variety of exchanges, running algorithms with USD pairs like Kraken and Coinbase, and of course, OG exchanges and sketchy ones that I don't want to talk about. I know there's a bunch of good people and really intelligent people on Twitter, but there's just so many silly comments. Every tweet you make, somebody will assume the opposite. If you say you like apples, they'll say you hate oranges. You know how it is. In reality, that's why I believe people get along much better in person. You can actually hear the tone and the meaning behind the words instead of just reading a tweet and taking your own interpretation. Even if I share a post on XRP and someone's like, dude, you're still shilling XRP? Yes, because I believe in XRP. And they're talking about some low cap and saying I'm missing it and sleeping on it. And it's funny because one or two of them were microcaps that I bought last cycle, even during IDO during 2021. People on Twitter just want you to share news and, shill their projects. In reality, if you want me or anybody to look at a project, try to be more inclusive instead of judging. Tribalism or calling other people idiots because they're not holding alts or discussing alts that you hold is a good way not to get people interested in your project. We have API3 constantly expanding. We have over $100 million TVS or total value secured. So great to see them finally building. If you go through their Twitter and just see more data feeds, more partnerships and integrations with a variety of chains, we can see price feeds, all types of price feeds, exchange rates, just building and building. And last but not least, guys, we have iTrustCapital linked in the top of this YouTube video description. This is a free crypto retirement account. There's just a 1% transaction fee if you trade. So I have a Roth IRA. All gains are 100% tax-free, paying 0% in capital gains. So I've been with iTrustCapital since the beginning and watched them become a billion-dollar company or a unicorn. I was previously with a company called BitIRA with my original crypto Roth IRA, and before that, that was just in the S&P 500. Billions of dollars in transactions, 2,000 plus 5-star reviews, and they do leverage a qualified custodian. If they ever went out of business, I still get my funds by law. The majority of exchanges or types of brokers out there don't have these guarantees. We've seen a bunch of BS throughout 2022 with 3AC and liquidations and Luna, even Celsius, Nexo, you name it. They are not lending your assets out whatsoever with iTrustCapital. So having a nest egg retirement account during bear markets might not be fun, but that's why I value being able to trade directly into the US dollar, not being forced to go into a stablecoin where there's counterparty risk, and preparing for the next bull run like we see every few years. Whether that's this year or over the coming years, I believe a variety of assets are going to perform very well. And again, if you're interested, this is linked in the top of the YouTube video description and in the pinned comment. If you use that link and do fund an account, you get a $100 funding reward. I'll be doing my monthly iTrustCapital video tomorrow, and then starting in March during the first week, I'll be diving into a bunch of information and potentially some new things I want to share. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and big thank you to all that hit the like button and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.